Today's game, Trinidad Tobago versus Canada, was fun to watch. It was entertaining. Love to see it go longer, maybe longer halves. Maybe next time play 2 halves. But I really enjoyed it. Keep it up, Andre. Hopefully we can build it into something even bigger. You take care. TNT, stay safe and stay in your home. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to EXTV's post-match conference for the FIFA 20 futsal friendly between Trinidad and Tobago and Canada. Mr. SOOKLAL will be making an opening statement and then taking a few questions by a show of hands.
First off, I'd like to say good evening to everyone. I'd like to say that the first thing before I get into the game, I'd like to send my thoughts and prayers out to everyone out there who is facing this COVID virus crisis on the front lines, doctors, lawyers, police officers, everyone. This is an unprecedented case and it's very scary, and I'm hoping that everybody follows the rules and, take care of each other and you let common sense prevail, stay at home. And that was the basis of this this game. Trinidad and Tobago constructing a team in FIFA 20 to play Canada was something that I realized that was probably important, and getting the victory was equally important. I know people minimize victories and so on, but the fact is it's something for everyone to take a look at and enjoy and get some national pride while we're in this crisis moment. I have to say, and not to sound cliche, but the lads performed well. We had a limited choice in players on the game, and basically we had to choose. There were 6 players: Javon Jones, Alvin Jones, Kevin Molino, Kaleem Highland, Sheldon Bato, and Greg Ranjit. We played really well. The transition. I played FIFA for many years, and playing this futsal mode is very different. And I have to tell you this: playing on your couch at home and playing with a live audience. And as I'm sure all players or anybody who has done anything with a live audience can tell you that it was very daunting. Knowing that a lot of people are looking to this just for a little pick me up, and I was sweating. I'm still sweating now, but it was great. Each guy performed really well. Everyone got on the score sheet. Sheldon Bato, Kaleem Highland, and Kevin Molino. Javon Jones did not get on the score sheet, but his build-up play and link-up play was amazing. The intensity was crazy. The ability to adapt, I have to admit, there were parts of the game where I was legitimately concerned. Greg Ranjit was amazing. I used a formation that just from adjusting for the first time, with 3 across, with one guy creating a defensive line that seemed to work, but they did create chances. And Greg pulled off some amazing saves that gave us the victory, because there were times I really thought they were going to put it away. They created some openings, but credit to the characteristics and the attributes of the players in the game. I was able to play to their strengths. They had pace, the ability to dribble, to interchange positions. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, and for people who play the traditional form of the game, it's a fun way to learn. And this is something that I think would really help boost people. And for those who looked at it online and checked out the game, it's definitely something that helped boost morale for the gamers and people who love football. So congrats to the boys and everyone involved and everyone who supported. So I'll take the first question. Amiel.
What was the most difficult aspect in adapting to the futsal gameplay and the futsal rules?
What was the most difficult part was, I think, I've played FIFA for many years, and the traditional game is in itself very different. I've played the actual game in real life and play the game, and there are similarities where you could use your footballing IQ for your benefit. A lot of people don't understand that there is a connection and correlation between the two. And there's physics, and obviously it's not going to be the same. The controller is effectively, you're controlling the players, the tactics, and the entire team, which is very different. With futsal, it's the same thing, but the physics were very different. A couple times I tried to do some shots that I would normally do in the game. You have less space, you have less time, you have to think a lot quicker. The goalkeeper is heavily involved. rotation of players, and you have to ensure that your ability to adapt to that speed, which sounds like a very generic statement, but it was quite I won't say difficult. I think people who play the game will be able to adjust, but it was very interesting and different because a lot of the things that you can do would work. There's a heavy reliance on dribbling, and you have to keep your positions. I mean, that goes without saying. But the speed and the physics, the player mechanics were very much different. And but it was enjoyable. For those of you guys who played any sort of court football, or as we call it in Trinidad and Tobago, sweat, there's a familiarity with it. But you definitely have to have a lot of discipline, because if you don't, you get a lot of goals conceded, and thankfully we didn't. Question from an e-gamer. Let's hear it, Slick. A question from an e-gamer. Let's hear it, Slick.
City Slicker here. We have a question for is from Frederick Woolton. Thoughts on the game today? How we find his performance was?
Well, just to add on what I said in my opening statement, I was very impressed with the individual stats that he allocated to our Trinidad and Tobago players. I mean, these guys are successful in their own right. Javon Charles, the Seattle Sounders, Kevin Molino, but all the other guys, Sheldon Bato, Greg Ranjit Singh, they were very, very much impressive. They definitely did what they were supposed to do. My thoughts were that this is very interesting. And I always wondered why we never had Trinidad and Tobago in FIFA. And you as an e-gamer, who's involved in esports, could definitely relate to this, because at Trinidad and Tobago, the last time I saw Trinidad and Tobago was maybe in the FIFA version that was in 2006, which was the World Cup, and then maybe 2002, if I'm not mistaken. All you gamers out there, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But my thoughts were that considering all that, customizing the players and creating a Trinidad and Tobago team was a bit tedious, and it also raised a lot of I won't say concerns, but there was a time there were at least 30-40 Trinidad and Tobago players in there. It was highlighted that there are a lot of eligible players, John Bostock and many others, which I'll get to. But it definitely left a good impression. I could see a lot of Trinidad and Tobago players and fans and the actual players themselves who play the game enjoying this, because it looks very good for the country that we are involved in esports. And my thoughts on the actual game revolves around all these thoughts, because the ability to just set this up and actually play the game is an achievement, and getting a positive result. But it was tough. I had to really, Canada, where the players were dribbling really strong. In the real world, they are doing a lot of development, and I guess their statistics, their stats and attributes reveal that. And these guys were fast and difficult to close down, but we used our tactics. Used a tactic that I've tried and tested before with my defending and counter and attacking the spaces, and it worked out really well. So I had a very good feeling about this, and I'm thinking if the other players involved get in this game, we could actually have some fun with this. But I'm going to put that question out there. I'd love to know why Trinidad and Tobago is not in this game, and why they continue not to be in this game. So maybe that will be revealed soon. Alright, Paul, let's hear your question.
Hey Andre, it's Paul Decle here, Pro Series Events and Trinidad Tobago Men's Futsal Assistant Coach. I'm interested to hear what your mindset was going into the game today, due to the fact that you had to make that transition from the grass game to the court. What was your mindset? How do you think the players responded to it? And can you comment on what your thoughts are on the performance of the Canadian team today?
Well, first off, that's it's an honor to have you here. Someone who's actually involved in the real life futsal. Excellent question. My thought process was, and I touched on it a little bit before. It was essentially the futsal game is something that a lot of people like but they don't know that they like. And it's very fun. It really improves technique. And FIFA, the game, EA Sports has acknowledged this. They have realized that this is something that is popular, and they put it in the game in the Volta mode, which is what it's called, and it's a career mode, which I'm sure there are a lot of better players out there who played this. I know there are a lot of better players out there. There's some guys that I see online that are fantastic players. And, my approach was, there's this gap between, I hate video games, that's for kids who play indoors, and the outdoor guys. And I'm from that generation that plays both. I used to play my games, and I still go outside and play football. I played for my university, and now I'm involved in football. And I think the times have changed because players who play FIFA are a bit different. The stereotypes are gone. This is what makes it relatable to kids. These kids like this; they enjoy it, and it's a very fun way for kids to take a look, pay attention, and advance some of the basic rules of the game. Because I'm sure in many training sessions, there are the rules that are different. For example, there are no throw-ins, the quick subs, things like that. That oftentimes you have to deprogram from players. With this, my first objective was to ensure that these players, have a fun way of learning. We're in a period of time that learning has evolved from the traditional reading from books, which are still important, but you have to find clever ways of getting people involved. Sport is a very positive avenue for kids, and I think this really helps. As for the performance of the players, and forgive me if I'm not remembering everything. This is a very thorough question. It's the players, as I said before, for the Canadian team were very, very, very fast, mobile, dynamic. Their runs were causing me a lot of difficulty in the first couple of minutes. I had to put some pressure on Greg in the first couple of minutes, where, as you can see, my hand, I made a fluff clearance. No fault of Greg's. That was mine. I was in control of the game. And, I had to adjust quickly. I realized that I had to adjust and use 3 across the middle and form a diamond shape to cope, because they were very, very dynamic and aggressive going forward. So I decided, in order to counteract that, I would use that shape, close the passing lanes, and then attack the spaces left behind. Goal scoring proved to be a bit difficult. The keeper was amazing. I had a hard time. I had to be very clever. We created a lot of chances, and they did create a lot of chances. And I have to be honest, if it was not, as I stated before, for the amazing performance of Greg, I think this game could have been a bit different. So that's some areas we need to work on. And there's a lot of gamers out there who are very good at this game, and I welcome their feedback and encourage them to play, because as I said at the beginning, we are living in a time where with this unfortunate thing with COVID-19, and we have to find ways to pass the time in a constructive manner. And for those who are involved in sport and just want to have fun, this is a perfect way to bridge the gap between the gamers and people who play and get everyone involved. I was very pleased that Coach Cony gave his comments before the press conference. That sort of feedback is very valuable to us, and I'm trying to bring something positive, and the objective, as I said before, was to bring something positive, and people around the world can like, subscribe, join in, play, comment, interact, and it bridges the gap between professional football gamers and people who just like the game. So I know I added a bit extra to your question, but it was a brilliant question, and I think that this type of feedback, I would love feedback from people like yourself and people involved in football, so we can find clever ways to reinvent and get people to fall back in love with this game. And I think this is the perfect way to start. So I hope that answers your question, Paul. So just my closing statements. I'd like to send a special thank you to a subscriber, Kirby Ansorson. Please forgive me if I pronounced your name wrong. My apologies, my most sincere apologies. But I'd like to thank him because he made some valuable suggestions about players that are eligible for Trinidad and Tobago. So I think I'll be looking for those players, and I'm going to be adding them to the squad, because the squad currently contains authentic EA Sports players that are in Trinidad and Tobago. Alvin Jones, Jovan Jones, Kevin Molino, Sheldon Bato, Greg Ranjit Singh, And also I think John Bostock, but he's not listed as a Trinidad Tobago player. And there's many other players who are eligible. So I'm going to try to be as realistic as possible and put as much players that are, you know, legitimately authorized to play. He gave me a list, and I'd like to thank him for that. So those of you who don't know, I'd like to say a special thank you to Kirby Anderson. So thank you very much. And you know, I may consider doing the customization of players. That is where you create players in games that are not in the game, and I use the characteristics of the players. You know, like for example, Levi Garcia and Atuala Guerra and many others. So you know, as I said, I'm really happy about the feedback. I'm really appreciative of these intelligent questions that have been asked, and I think, you know, this is something fun, not just for gamers but for football and for Trinidad and Tobago. And the good thing is we live in a wonderful age of technology where everyone can join in. So thank you very much, everybody, and you know, I look forward to getting your feedback and doing more things like this. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone is safe. Follow the rules that the World Health Organization are giving, and I hope that we all collectively come out of this crisis stronger than we were before.
Okay, folks, thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.
Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.